Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and this is a Bald Explorer podcast. Today I'm with the lovely Julia.
Hello.
And we are in Chichester on a mission,
Yes,
Julia. We are
mission.
on a mission. We have heard about this rather remarkable cycle path,
Yep.
footpath. Used to be a railway line from
Yep.
Midhurst down to Chichester,
Yep, nice connecting route.
through a corridor, you could say,
Yes,
on the west of Chichester, a lung, if you like.
a
We're
nice little wildlife corridor.
Yeah, and here you hear that sound. That is the sound, obviously, of a modern railway. Fortunately, we're not on the tracks of that. This is all under threat, this little bit of area, and we're going to find out more about that. I should just say we're standing on the west side of Bishop Luffer School here at the
Underneath
moment.
what used to be an archway.
Yes, that's right, the
which we'll talk about,
archway.
I'm sure.
A beautiful archway that was the beginning of the Centurion Way heading north. We're going to find out why it's under threat, because we're on this beautiful tarmacked path which is going to head towards the country, and we've come to meet up some of the Friends of the Centurion Way, an organisation that is there to, I guess, promote the path and talk about things that are perhaps not healthy for the path. And first of all, I'm joined by Sarah Sharp. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Richard. Hi.
And I understand that you set up the Friends of Centurion Way.
Yes, last autumn it was, we really became aware of the threat, and encouraged by Mark Strong, who used to work for Sustrans and who helped build this path, I was encouraged to involve the local community in protecting it and, we hope, enhancing it. We love this path. It's our gateway into the countryside. Many children have used this path to learn to ride their bikes. People love using it, walking their dogs. We have a lot of people who rely on it, who use it in mobility scooters, to get over to the local Tesco's over the bridge there. And it's a really, really popular and well-used path all through the year, not just on Sundays. Obviously it's used a lot for recreation, blackberry picking, dog walking, but it's used by all sorts of people for lots of reasons, also commuting as well.
Well, it sounds an amazing path, and as we walk away from the noisy railway station and we get away from that, we are surrounded by beautiful trees. I can see some ash trees, we've seen some sycamore trees, some beautiful London planes.
Yeah, and a birch or two.
We're into our trees.
This is the part of the path which is most at risk.
So we should find out
Basically,
what the risk is and what the
yeah.
threat is then.
So to the west of the path there are plans to put in a big housing development, which is planned, it's going to happen, and a road needs to be built to provide a southern access for all these new people who are going to be moving in here. However, there's also going to be new playing fields built for the school on the other side of the path. So all this section that we're on here now, well, as we are here, standing here today or walking here today, I don't actually know what will happen to that. When this part of the path, the plans we've seen are to truncate this and to make it go around the new playing fields and then run alongside this southern access road. Now we understand we need the southern access road because if we only have all these new residents using the northern access, they're going to congest the city and there's air pollution issues. But to lose this lovely, beautiful path at the beginning of it, which is so key, and it's quite a distance, we're still walking this. We just don't know whether that will become part of the school land. And what we did, we met John Grimshaw, who designed the original path when it was put in after it stopped being a railway, and we asked him to come down and give us some help. And he's done us some designs which allow the road to go in the path to stay, in actual fact to be enhanced, be made better, so that the path makes that bridge less of an obstacle, so that people will be able to not have all this huge height to go up,
Right.
and to enable the school to access their fields without having the public well, there's a lot of obviously safeguarding issues. So John Grimshaw's given us a design so that there will be a separation between the children and the path.
Now
the path is safeguarded.
We should just say that the path itself, although this bit would disappear, they have actually come up with another a sort of a diversion.
That's right.
With the path,
yeah.
which takes you further away from the city.
That's right, and obviously those people carrying heavy shopping or in their mobility scooters will have to go further, probably for cyclists, because they're on a bike it won't make much of a difference. But what it will do is, for example, there are groups from the Scouts we've heard would encourage their young people to cycle independently down the path, because there are no crossings at all. They're adding in, obviously we've got to cross
Yes.
at the bottom,
So it
this
becomes
busy
more
road.
complicated.
So it becomes more complicated, and we lose this we lose the bottom part of the path
Right.
in its present state. Also, lots of people use the bottom end to park their cars, get their dogs out, get their bikes off the roof racks or out of the car. So all that lifestyle that we've
Yes.
got used to will probably be
change.
will change.
Well, we've got other people with us from your group, and Emma, I know, is somebody who went to the school. You told me earlier, Emma, that you went to the school.
Yes, I did.
So you're very familiar with this path.
Yes, I am. I grew up with this path basically. So when I was younger, used to go on family cycle rides. Went here with the church youth groups. Used it as a route to go up to Hunter's Race. It's just very convenient, really, to have it so near the city and the church on the Parklands estate.
So how do you feel about the idea of it being the bottom end, particularly turning into an access road?
Really sad. As you said, I went to the school, and it was just so nice to have this green buffer and to be able to have an alternative route home that wasn't through houses, basically.
Yes. So this will make a dramatic impact on you and other students who are at the school now, presumably.
Yeah, students use it to get to and from the school, and they also use it as a way to get to the railway bridge to go over to Tesco. Not sure if I should be advocating that, but I am a bit concerned as to what's going to happen if a road is going to be built, because it'll obviously make it more dangerous. At the moment it's nice and quiet.
Behind me I've got Adam. Thank you very much, Emma. Hello, Adam.
Hi, Richard.
Now, you were telling me earlier that nobody's really counted unfortunately, they've not counted the amount of people who use the footpath, but it's a considerable amount.
It is. I've only fairly recently moved to the area, but every time I've cycled down the path, I've been amazed at how many people are using it. Not just walking or cycling, but people on mobility scooters, children going to school. And you can see that there's hundreds of people in an hour, especially in the rush hour, who are actually using the path, and it's such an important community asset, really.
So what would be the alternative?
Well, if people weren't able to use this path, they'd just be using their cars to drive everywhere, which will clog up the city even more. And Chichester has a very bad traffic problem anyway. So if all those people were forced to use their cars, well, it'd just be gridlock all the time.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, cycling is a brilliant way of exercising. It's a relatively fast way of getting around anyway.
Well, definitely, but the fact that it stretches all the way up to West Dean means people can get out of the city into the countryside. They can go and visit the college at West Dean and other villages on the way, so they can easily use it as sort of green way to get out to the countryside.
So if they put a road in here and they shift the path to the west, do you think then less people will be inclined to get on the path and do the trip?
Potentially, yes, because the actual detour they're looking at, it's at least 600 metre detour, a big dog leg,
Yes.
when there are far better ways of dealing with it. Because yes, everyone accepts the need for more housing and putting the road in. I don't think anyone has a problem with that, but there are better ways of dealing with it, such as, well, why not just have a simple bridge over the new path?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it's called Centurion Way because it was named in a competition, I gather.
That's what I understand, yes. It was one of the school children came up with it.
Even though before that, as we said, it was actually a railway line on the old South Coast, whatever line it was.
Yes.
The Midhurst to Chichester line. There's lots of interesting features on that route, and I believe we're going to talk to Carly. So Carly, you know a lot about the features along the Centurion Way.
Well, we've just passed the. Did you, Julia? I showed Julia one of the telegraph poles. There's several old ones down the side, but it's further back there. That one. I haven't seen another one just now.
All right, fair enough. And what do they signify?
Well, they were part of the old railway network, weren't they?
Yeah.
So presumably a
Yes, so
telegraph system.
Telegraph poles, you know, the
Yes.
old ones with those kind of candly things that
Yes.
sit on the top of them.
That's it. That's all
made
gone
of,
now.
They're made of china. I've got some at home, actually.
Yes.
But what I wanted to really say is, I think for us, the whole idea of this is to enhance it and preserve it. Preserve it, yes, in its original state, but enhance it and make it better for people to use.
When you say enhance, what do you mean by that?
Well, keep it as it is now at the moment. You can see that it's actually quite well kept, and the undergrowth has been cut back from either side. Now, that is because a group of volunteers have actually got together and really are making it better. We are now looking after the bottom end. It's not the Friends of Centurion Way, but it's an associated group of people.
Yes.
Who have taken the responsibility of cutting back the brambles. So when you're cycling and you meet somebody walking along, it's really quite nice that you don't have to end up in the nettles,
Yes,
either
you've
of you.
got space.
So they've got space. So that has actually happened since the group was formed. There's another group that look after the top end in Lavant, and they have been doing that. But this bit has not been looked after for as long as I've been using that, and it's certainly 10 years. So it is being improved. And the other thing is that what we want is easy access from the new estate that is actually being built, this huge estate, for people to encourage people to use the path to get into the town.
Yes.
And therefore they won't need to use the roads. And therefore they clean air, no more cars. You know, this city is flat.
Yes.
And
yes.
it needs to encourage people to walk.
Yes, I can hear the passion
Yeah,
in your
absolutely.
voice. And the thing about Chichester, I suppose, for anybody who doesn't know it, it is originally a Roman walled city.
It is.
You can't expand in the city anymore.
No.
There's only so much
Yes.
space, and you don't want any more pollution in there.
No, and the city is chock-a-block with cars at the moment. We've really
Yes.
got to. They have to have some plan. At the moment, I'm afraid it's being fudged, and I think they simply don't know what to do.
So is anybody listening to your plea to not have the road go ahead?
I don't think so. I don't know. What does everybody else think? We're having great trouble, really, in getting. I think there is now acknowledgement that we exist,
Right.
and the group is actually now got over 500 supporters, and there are a lot of people who are very concerned. And we're not going to go away.
No.
I mean, we're not trying to be belligerent or obstructive or anything. We've got extra alternative, unusual plans produced by John Grimshaw. I don't know whether Sarah
Are
told
they
you.
listening to those?
Well, we've sent them.
Right.
We've passed them on.
Adam's tweaking his finger at me.
I was going to say, obviously, since the formation of the Friends, by having the website, putting stuff on Facebook, it's enabled people to realise what was happening, and also put in, not necessarily objections to the housing plans, because I don't think many people are against it full stop, but just enabled them to put in suggestions for how the path could be preserved,
Yes.
rather than having this silly diversion.
Now I'm going to talk to Philip over here,
well
because
done.
you do a lot on the social media side of things, so you'll know really more about the comments and reactions that are coming in. Is that right?
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Hopefully. So what from other people who perhaps live in Chichester who may not have heard of Centurion Way? I mean, what's the view coming from people on social media?
But obviously people love Centurion Way. I mean, they use it for all sorts of reasons. There's a number of clubs in Chichester that use it regularly. The Chichester Triathlon Club, and lots of young people. The Scouts use it, and a lot of people have moved into Parklands Estate specifically because if they've got mobility issues, simply because they can use Centurion Way to safely get to Tesco's without hardly going near a car.
So presumably people are sharing the content that you put on your Facebook page to make everybody aware. I'm just thinking of how if it's a pressure group to tell the council we don't want this, how that's evolving.
Yeah, the council listen and are supportive, but they've got their own pressures from government for everything to go ahead. I mean, would like to say that Centurion Way, the Friends of Centurion Way, are not in any way against the new road going in. We understand that, but it's got to be done in a good way.
Yes, and you have actually suggested alternative places.
John Grimshaw's. He's done it free of charge. He's put plans forward. They're not plans as such. They're suggestions. But
But it just gives the council something extra to think about, rather than simply saying that we don't want it. End of story. You've thought about it.
Yes. We've had. I mean, Chichester District Council. We had a lovely meeting with them back in April. And with West Sussex County Council, there are all so many different parties involved in it. The only people who we haven't managed to talk to with any sense are the developers.
Yes, well, that doesn't surprise me. Yes, they always try to keep themselves well away from the people who don't want the things on their doorstep, from the things I hear. Well, what we're going to do is, over the next few months, the lovely Julia and I are going to come back to Centurion Way when the weather is a little bit better than it is today, which is a bit bleak and grey, which is why we've decided to record a podcast this time initially, and explore the route possibly as far north as we can get, and then down, and focus obviously on the plight that's that the Friends of Centurion Way are facing today.
Yeah, and see some of the diversity as well along the path.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of wildlife such as bats that have been found here, and I believe, I can't remember who it was, one of you were telling me that you'd been on a bat. Who was that?
I was on the bat walk, yes.
On the bat walk, that's right.
I can't remember the date exactly. Oh, I know, it was August the 18th.
There you go. But you registered that there were plenty of bats.
There are plenty of bats, absolutely. I could see a few, and we could hear them on these amazing machines. But there were lots of them.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to duck under a tree and get close to nature now, because the heavens have opened and we're all getting soaking wet.
Just a wee bit.
Just a wee bit.
There's a nice tree up there. We can shuffle that way.
So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to that. Do go and find out more information at the website. Now, one of you is going to tell me what the website address is.
Centurionway.org.uk.
Centurionway.org.uk. And have a look at that. Join the Facebook group, and if you're in the Chichester area, why not go and have a look and a little ramble up the Centurion Way. You'll thoroughly enjoy it. From us, however, we're going to dive under the tree and get out of the rain. Thank you.
I don't know how many people we've seen walking up and down here on this wet day. There's a lot of people use it, aren't there?
Absolutely. People in buggies. What do you call them?
Yes,
because
disabled. Yeah.
Yes, it's a great thing.
So yes,
take care. Thanks for listening, and join us when we make some videos.
Come back and see some more.
Until then, goodbye.